Hello, my name is Sonia Moore, and I have chosen Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Tulsa as my not-for-profit organization to highlight. Catholic Charities is a faith-based organization and therefore falls under the Human Services subsector, which is the largest subsector among the nonprofit sections. They are, like most organizations within this subsector, rely on governmental funding, though I'll talk about it in just a few moments. They really only have one program in which they receive governmental funding in support of that program. They are vulnerable to economic declines and also political environmental changes as well. The mission of Catholic Charities is to provide Christ's merciful love to those who suffer. And their vision is to act as a conduit in which Christ's love is working to provide works of charity for all people, those who give, and uniquely those who serve as well. They continually look at the needs of the whole person, their physical needs, obviously, with food, clothing, and shelter, but they also look at their spiritual needs as well. They look at the needs of the person in front of them asking for assistance, but also they look at the needs of the person providing assistance as well, which is something that was attractive to me as an individual when researching Catholic Charities. The history of Catholic Charities is that they were founded in 1951, and they were a branch office of the Oklahoma City Catholic Charities, and until 1973, when they formed their own not-for-profit organization and established a board. And they operated out of their main offices at 739 North Denver Avenue from 1951 until 2009, when they completed a $23 million capital campaign, which was the largest campaign in the history of Catholic Charities, and allowed them to build a 72,000 square foot campus in which they were able to bring all 12 of their programs onto one campus, where prior to that their programs were scattered throughout Tulsa in multiple locations. Some of the services that they provide are family and individual counseling, adoption services, immigration services, rural assistance in northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Oklahoma. They have transitional housing for homeless families. They also have transitional housing for unwed mothers. They offer food and clothing assistance, and they offer end-of-life care for the dying. The program for the dying was established back in the 80s during the HIV and AIDS time, when there really wasn't a lot of support for the victims of HIV and AIDS, and so Catholic Charities was definitely a leader in that arena. And as medications became more sophisticated, the thought of HIV and AIDS being an end-of-life disease actually went away. So they actually changed the program and allowed anyone who was actively dying to enter into the program. Some of the other things that they provide are educational classes such as GED classes. They also offer ESL, English as a second language classes, and just basic computer classes as well. They do offer support for individuals who have suffered from abortion. They have a pregnancy program as well that allows them to provide prenatal care. They have a dental program that offers a lot, cleaning and fillings and dentures as well. And they do have one program called the Refugee Resettlement Program, which is the only program that is funded through state and federal dollars. And it has allowed individuals who are seeking asylum to come to the United States and reside and relocate here with their family members as well. So, and one thing about the programs that they absolutely charge nothing for their services to the clients, which is something that was very interesting to me and really spoke to me as an individual. The organizational chart for Catholic Charities is somewhat unique from other not-for-profit organizations because it is founded in the Catholic Church, in that the bishop of the diocese is the leader of the organization and that he is the sole and final decision maker of the organization. There is a board of governors that does report to the bishop, and the executive director reports directly to the board. But the bishop, as I mentioned, has the final say on anything, and I can tell you in the years that I've been involved with Catholic Charities, I've never seen the bishop exercise that right. He really relies on the board to help guide the organization and oversee the executive director. The executive director has 3 direct reports, the first being the director of mission advancement, which is the branch of the organization that handles all the fundraising events and also volunteer coordination as well. And Catholic Charities is staffed with approximately 800 volunteers at any given time. As I mentioned, most of the programs are facilitated in the hands or feet of the organization or volunteers, and so obviously that's a big job, but that falls under mission advancement. The Director of Business and Finance reports directly to the Executive Director, and they are, as it indicates, responsible for all the financial related matters of the organization and human resources as well. And the final director that reports to the Executive Director is the Director of Programs, and that individual has numerous coordinators that report directly to him, and they oversee the various programs that I'd mentioned earlier, which is obviously a large job. The annual revenue for the organization is approximately $3.5 million, and 15% of that actually is generated through one event, an annual event that was started approximately 11 years ago, and I was very fortunate to be involved in the concept and design and the implementation of that event. It's called Cooking Up Compassion, and it raises approximately $500,000 in one night, which is really unheard of in the Tulsa and Oklahoma area, but it's a very successful event for the organization. 40% of the revenue they receive is governmental and state funding for the Refugee Resettlement Program, which is a very large program for the organization. 10% of the revenue is generated from individual donations, and the remainder is generated through foundation grants. Some of the unique qualities that attracted me to Catholic Charities and what really encourages me, inspires me to stay involved. I've been involved with them for over 20 years as a volunteer, as an employee, and also as a supporter as well financially. One of them being is that they provide their services without regard to race, religion, or national origin. You don't have to be Catholic to receive services, and in reality, very few of the people that are served are Catholic. They provide a wide range of services, as I mentioned earlier, for dental care, counseling, and such. And they serve a broad area in Oklahoma, northeastern Oklahoma and southeastern Oklahoma, and the Tulsa area as well. And that they're faith-based. That was probably what really initially attracted me to the organization, and that I really wanted to live out my faith in a way that I could still serve my community at the same time. And then they're volunteer-based. They really provide a lot of services, very little cost to the organization, and approximately 14% of the revenue for the organization is spent on administrative overhead, which is pretty low for an organization of its size. And then again, the most attractive piece to me was the fact that they do not charge their clients for the services that they provide. I've enjoyed talking to you about Catholic Charities. I hope it sparks your interest. It encourages you to at least check them out, take a tour of the new campus that they've been on for several years now, and just to learn a little bit more about the services that they provide. Thank you.